Quality of life, QOL, is the general well-being of individuals and societies. QOL has a wide range of contexts, including the fields of international development, healthcare, politics, and employment. Quality of life should not be confused with the concept of standard of living, which is based primarily on income. Instead, standard indicators of the quality of life include not only wealth and employment, but also the built environment, physical and mental health, education, recreation, and leisure time, and social belonging. While quality of life, QOL, has long been an explicit or implicit policy goal, adequate definition and measurement have been elusive. Diverse objective and subjective indicators across a range of disciplines and scales, and recent work on subjective well-being, SWB, surveys, and the psychology of happiness have spurred renewed interest. One approach outlined in the Journal of Applied Research in the Quality of Life posits 4 domains in assessing quality of life: ecology, economics, politics, and culture. In the domain of culture, for example, it includes the following subdomains of quality of life: identity and engagement, creativity and recreation, memory and projection, belief and ideas, gender and generations, inquiry, and learning, well-being and health. Also frequently related are concepts such as freedom, human rights, and happiness. However, since happiness is subjective and difficult to measure, other measures are generally given priority. It has also been shown that happiness, as much as it can be measured, does not necessarily increase correspondingly with the comfort that results from increasing income. As a result, standard of living should not be taken to be a measure of happiness. Also sometimes considered related is the concept of human security, though the latter may be considered at a more basic level, and for all people. Quantitative measurement. Unlike per capita GDP or standard of living, both of which can be measured in financial terms, it is harder to make objective or long-term measurements of the quality of life experienced by nations or other groups of people. Researchers have begun in recent times to distinguish 2 aspects of personal well-being: emotional well-being, in which respondents are asked about the quality of their everyday emotional experiences, the frequency and intensity of their experiences of, for example, joy, stress, sadness, anger, and affection; and life evaluation, in which respondents are asked to think about their life in general and evaluate it against a scale. Such and other systems and scales of measurement have been in use for some time. Research has attempted to examine the relationship between quality of life and productivity. Human Development Index. Perhaps the most commonly used international measure of development is the Human Development Index, HDI, which combines measures of life expectancy, education, and standard of living in an attempt to quantify the options available to individuals within a given society. The HDI is used by the United Nations Development Program in their Human Development Report. World Happiness Report. Also developed by the United Nations and published recently along with the HDI, this report combines both objective and subjective measures to rank countries by happiness, which is deemed as the ultimate outcome of a high quality of life. It uses surveys from Gallup, real GDP per capita, healthy life expectancy, having someone to count on, perceived freedom to make life choices, freedom from corruption, and generosity to derive the final score. Other measures. The Physical Quality of Life Index, PQLI, is a measure developed by sociologist David Morris in the 1970s. Based on basic literacy, infant mortality, and life expectancy. Although not as complex as other measures, and now essentially replaced by the Human Development Index, the PQLI is notable for Morris's attempt to show a less fatalistic, pessimistic picture by focusing on 3 areas where global quality of life was generally improving at the time, and ignoring gross national product and other possible indicators that were not improving. The Happy Planet Index, introduced in 2006, is unique among quality of life measures in that, in addition to standard determinants of well-being, it uses each country's ecological footprint, as an indicator. As a result, European and North American nations do not dominate this measure. The 2012 list is instead topped by Costa Rica, Vietnam, and Colombia. Gallup researchers trying to find the world's happiest countries found Denmark to be at the top of the list. US, which publishes an annual quality of life index for European countries. France has topped the list for the last 3 years. A 2010 study by 2 Princeton University professors looked at 1,000 randomly selected U.S. residents over an extended period. It concludes that their life evaluations, that is, their considered evaluations of their life against a stated scale of 1 to 10, rise steadily with income. On the other hand, their reported quality of emotional daily experiences, their reported experiences of joy, affection, stress, sadness, or anger, levels off after a certain income level, approximately $75,000 per year. Income above $75,000 does not lead to more experiences of happiness, nor to further relief of unhappiness or stress. Below this income level, respondents reported decreasing happiness and increasing sadness and stress, implying the pain of life's misfortunes, including disease, divorce, and being alone, is exacerbated by poverty. Gross national happiness and other subjective measures of happiness are being used by the governments of Bhutan and the United Kingdom. The World Happiness Report, issued by Columbia University, is a meta-analysis of happiness globally and provides an overview of countries and grassroots activists using GNH. The OECD issued a guide for the use of subjective well-being metrics in 2013. In the U.S., cities and communities are using a GNH metric at a grassroots level. The Social Progress Index measures the extent to which countries provide for the social and environmental needs of their citizens. 52 indicators in the areas of basic human needs, foundations of well-being, and opportunity show the relative performance of nations. The index uses outcome measures when there is sufficient data available, or the closest possible proxies. Livability. The term quality of life is also used by politicians and economists to measure the livability of a given city or nation. 2 widely known measures of livability are the Economist Intelligence Unit's Where to Be Born Index and Mercer's Quality of Living Reports. These 2 measures calculate the livability of countries and cities around the world, respectively, through a combination of subjective life satisfaction surveys and objective determinants of quality of life such as divorce rates, safety, and infrastructure. Such measures relate more broadly to the population of a city, state, or country, not to individual quality of life. Crimes. Some crimes against property, e.g., graffiti and vandalism, and some victimless crimes have been referred to as quality-of-life crimes. American sociologist James Q. Wilson encapsulated this argument as the broken window theory, which asserts that relatively minor problems left unattended, such as litter, graffiti, or public urination by homeless individuals, send a subliminal message that disorder in general is being tolerated, and, as a result, more serious crimes will end up being committed, the analogy being that a broken window left broken shows an image of general dilapidation. Wilson's theories have been used to justify the implementation of zero-tolerance policies by many prominent American mayors, most notably Oscar Goodman in Las Vegas, Richard Riordan in Los Angeles, Rudolph Giuliani in New York City, and Gavin Newsom in San Francisco. Such policies refuse to tolerate even minor crimes. Proponents argue that this will improve the quality of life of local residents. However, critics of zero-tolerance policies believe that such policies neglect investigation on a case-by-case basis, and may lead to unreasonably harsh penalties for crimes. Popsicle Index. The Popsicle Index is a quality-of-life measurement coined by Catherine Austin Fitts as the percentage of people in a community who believe that a child in their community can safely leave his or her home, walk to the nearest possible location to buy a popsicle, and walk back home. In healthcare, Within the field of healthcare's quality of life is often regarded in terms of how it is negatively affected on an individual level, a debilitating weakness that is not life-threatening. Life-threatening illness that is not terminal illness, the predictable, natural decline in the health of an elder, an unforeseen mental/physical decline of a loved one, chronic and stage disease processes. Researchers at the University of Toronto's Quality of Life Research Unit define quality of life as the degree to which a person enjoys the important possibilities of his or her life. Their quality of life model is based on the categories being belonging and becoming respectively who one is, how one is not connected to one's environment, and whether one achieves one's personal goals, hopes, and aspirations. Use in international development. Quality of life is an important concept in the field of international development, since it allows development to be analyzed on a measure broader than standard of living. Within development theory, however, there are varying ideas concerning what constitutes desirable change for a particular society, and the different ways that quality of life is defined by institutions therefore shapes how these organizations work for its improvement. As a whole, organizations such as the World Bank, for example, declare a goal of working for a world free of poverty, with poverty defined as a lack of basic human needs such as food, water, shelter, freedom, access to education, healthcare, or employment. In other words, poverty is defined as a low quality of life. Using this definition, the World Bank works towards improving quality of life through neoliberal means, with the stated goal of lowering poverty and helping people afford a better quality of life. Other organizations, however, may also work towards improved global quality of life using a slightly different definition and substantially different methods. Many NOs do not focus at all on reducing poverty on a national or international scale, but rather attempt to improve quality of life for individuals or communities. One example would be sponsorship programs that provide material aid for specific individuals. Although many organizations of this type may still talk about fighting poverty, the methods are significantly different. The neutrality of this section is disputed. Relevant discussion may be found on the talk page. Please do not remove this message until the dispute is resolved. November 2012. Improving quality of life involves action not only by NOs, but also by governments. Global health has the potential to achieve greater political presence if governments were to incorporate aspects of human security into foreign policy. Stressing individuals' basic rights to health, food, shelter, and freedom addresses prominent intersectoral problems negatively impacting today's society, and may lead to greater action and resources. Integration of global health concerns into foreign policy may be hampered by approaches that are shaped by the overarching roles of defense and diplomacy.